So hello, this is Lisa Long with YesICanWithThePlan.com, and today I'm interviewing Naomi Rose, who, hi, so good to be here. Yeah. And we're getting ready for our yoga, which I just love yoga. It's so beneficial for me. Yeah. And I actually even got that intuitively years ago, like yoga would help you. Like, okay. Yeah. And it does.
Yeah, well, I started at age 13 and it saved my life.
So
that was a long time ago.
Wow. Yeah. So how did it save your life?
Well, I was living in a very chaotic home situation, and I learned child's pose. And so whenever it get really crazy in the house, I would go to a quiet room and go into child's pose and breathe. And it was a lifesaver.
Oh, beautiful.
That was that was how I started yoga.
I love it. Now, was that just kind of a gift, an intuitive hunch?
Well, it was offered as a PE option in my middle school, and I just took it. I knew that's what I wanted to do.
So. Nice. Gives me goosebumps.
And here I am teaching yoga. I had no idea.
Right. It's interesting how life is a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been coming to yoga here with you for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And it's been a big help.
That's good.
And I know as an entrepreneur, you know, one of the biggest tools that we bring to the table is our mind and our body. And we really have to keep this in peak performance. Mm-hmm. Because if we don't, we just can't perform like the way we need to.
Yeah.
And I've had, you know, the strength building is great, but I've also had some things come up, you know, emotionally, spiritually, that were probably blocking me. Yeah. Some of the like, wow, I didn't even know that was there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's interesting. And I like that it just comes up and I let it go. Yeah. I don't have to play with it. I don't have to journal about it. I don't have to.
Right.
I just let it go.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like I like quick and easy.
Yeah, really.
So, since we're talking with entrepreneurs right now, you have a really wonderful experience coming up called the Rose Method.
Yes.
So, tell me about the Rose Method.
The Rose Method, Lightworker Mastery Program. The Rose Method, a Lightworker Mastery Program. And I'm so excited about this. This is like an accumulation of my whole life. All of my spiritual practices, my training, my emotional work, my shamanic training, and it's all seemed to come together now into a practice and an offering that is really, I just love it because it is really it is there to help people follow their true call, shine their true light. And my personal belief is that when each of us does that, it brings more light to the world. So it's an enormous service to ourselves as well as the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who really don't know what they want to do. So they try this, and they try that, and then they try this, and they try that, and they end up spinning for years and years.
Yeah.
How do you know what you're here to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. So you mentioned about yoga being for the body and mind, and for me, the Rose Method and the way I teach yoga, it's also about the heart. So the more we can drop in and listen to our hearts, then we can get more clarity of which path to take. Because some of us, especially entrepreneurs, we have so many skills and so many interests, but we need to focus and see which one it is that is really calling us. And so that's a practice in itself, and we do work with that in the Rose Method training. The other thing is we bring in spiritual guidance. And for me personally, nothing can be done as well as unless you have spiritual guidance. So that's another thing the Rose Method does, is we bring in some shamanic guides for everyone who comes to the method, the training, and then with that guidance, with the heart, being in the body, and clearing emotions, you get it, you get to it, you see what the call is.
Wow.
Everything else kind of goes to the wayside. But we also work with blocks. So a lot of times when ways we sabotage ourselves is by having too many interests and not knowing where to go and staying in confusion. So as we dig deep and find out the root of these blocks, which is, they are usually unconscious, so we bring them into the light of awareness, then we're not run by those anymore, and we can see more clearly as well.
Wow, that sounds really powerful.
It is. I have to say it is. And the other thing is, there's part of the training is how to be aligned with spirit in everything we do. So brings whatever spirit is for whoever. It's not a particularly religious approach. It's just whatever spiritual guidance, whatever something greater than our ego that wants to guide us. Maybe it's our heart, maybe it's a deity, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just to turn over the ego idea, turn over the wounds from that hold us back, and align ourselves with spirit. And I don't know anything more powerful for generating success.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would have to agree. I can't wait to do this. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I know I got to just experience a teeny bit of it last time, but I was more involved with the marketing and the technicals. I wasn't really paying attention because you know, I can only do so much at one time. But that sounds so powerful.
It's so exciting. I mean, because we did the training in May, and just, you know, 10 to 20 hours, and people were shifting like crazy. And I have follow-up with some people from the training, and they have made big decisions in their life, or just little steps towards what they now know they need to do. And they have the confidence. We practice group support and experience ourselves holding presence, aligned with others, and that's so powerful. So that can be used when someone's working with clients, or working with selling something, or being in front of people. And it's so exquisite because our ego's put aside so the guidance can come through, the spiritual energy's there, and magic happens. Way beyond what we're saying or what we're thinking, something else happens. And that's what I've experienced with teaching yoga, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. It's really, I couldn't do it without it.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. You mentioned even bringing this through when you're selling something. I've noticed, because I've had lots of different sales positions through my life, and I've noticed the people who are just calm and centered. Now, at the time, I'd never heard of the word centered. Yeah. But the people who were calm and didn't get rattled, they always did the best.
Yeah.
And they were just smooth, and it didn't matter, and not attached to the outcome. And I always thought, wow, I wish I could be like that.
And you can. Well, you are now.
Much better now.
Yeah.
But so is this going to kind of help with that, the Rose method?
Yeah, a whole practice of bringing us into our center, called the lower dantian, right below the navel center. And when I discovered that, my life changed. Because even if I'm in a situation where there's conflict, I drop in, and everything shifts, because I'm not in reactive mode. I'm not worried about what the other person's thinking. So this could be applied to sales too. You're just coming from here.
Right.
Your depth, your belief, your center, your truth.
I think when we do that, we have more energy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because we're not pushing so hard.
That's true. That's a good point. It's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that, but it's so true. We don't have to try as hard.
Right.
With the spiritually aligned and centered, things are a lot more effortless.
Yeah, you're more in the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not trying to push or trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
And really not so attached to the outcome.
Exactly. And I introduced some shamanic protocols to help with that, to put aside the agenda, the ego, the idea of what outcome needs to happen. And then you're so free. You're so free to let it flow and trust.
That's really beautiful. I think that's what most of us ultimately want. You know, I'll ask people, what do you really want? And sometimes it's money, it's to have their own house, it's to have a new car, relationship, but ultimately it's to feel better and to be free, to
Yeah.
feel more free.
Yeah.
And it really, I believe it starts within.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's that freedom, that sense of peace is within. Sometimes it's just really buried
Yes.
with all the clutter,
is.
all the junk.
Or too much focus outward, and I always say it's an inside job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like they said, start with the man in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
Like way inside, not just like, okay, I'll walk today, but yeah, on a much deeper level. So I think this, you're doing the Rose method. So tell me a little bit more about the Rose method. Now, you said Lightworker Mastery Training, and you're going to be offering a free introduction to this?
Yes, on July 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming right up, live stream and on site. And I'm going to bring in a practice that is profoundly powerful to clear out the main block in our life that's keeping us from whatever that we really feel called for, and to align us with spirit. So everyone who does this, I expect, will walk out of that class or complete that. It's only an hour and a half, but it's a powerful practice, and I believe it can really shift things.
Wow. So just to get rid of that block, I mean, that
Yeah.
holds so many people back.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
do you notice patterns or certain blocks that tend to hold people back, or how they sabotage themselves?
Yeah, so the unconscious blocks, of course, could be from wounds from our past. It could be old voices from our past, our parental voices, and we need to get to those. There are many other reasons. We need to get to those, bring them into awareness, because they act out in all sorts of ways. Procrastination, tiredness, getting sick. When we're feeling the call, we can sabotage in that way. We could go into addictive behaviors, compulsive behaviors, clean the house instead of do the work. That's one of my
Guilty. You too. I'm totally guilty of that.
Like, why am I cleaning when I'm supposed to? When I really want to be over there. It could be creative blocks to the flow of the creative. There's so many ways we manifest our blocks.
Sure.
And then part of the goal of the Rose method is to bring so much awareness to it that we see when we're doing it. And then we bring in spirit, we drop into our center, we bring in our spiritual help, and that can shift it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so the full training is 2 weekends?
2 weekends. People can come just to the first weekend. You're going to get a lot out of that. The second weekend, we go deeper. And we have more time to practice in front of others in terms of holding our presence. People can make a presentation, but you're going to make a presentation like you never have before. You're going to do it from your center, aligned, and it's quite transformative. So people want to practice. I had one student who practiced singing in front of us from that place. And it was so beautiful. So that's the kind of thing that happens more in the second weekend.
I think that would be powerful.
And we go deeper. There's a Tibetan practice I'm bringing in that is really, really life-changing.
Wow, I think everybody should do the full 2 weekends.
I agree.
And that's a lot to shift in just 2 weekends.
It is.
People spend years and years and years trying to shift this.
Yeah.
Get rid of the blocks, stop sabotaging themselves.
Yeah. And see, it's only basically 9 to 10 hours each weekend. I don't feel like we need a lot of time because there's a lot that comes up that I'm bringing in. And then I give homework, and there's different things we do. So it's amazing how much can be done in basically 20 hours.
Wow. Talk about doing things smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
I'm liking this. I'm liking this.
We don't need to tire ourselves out and get wiped out from a big workshop.
No.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the gal who sang last time. Now, hadn't she been trying to do this for like 4 years or something like this?
Well, she's been a singer, but she sings very softly, and she always sings accompaniment, not. And so here she sang for herself, And her voice was louder, more beautiful, more expansive. But the other thing is, for about 4 years, I've been working with her individually. She knew she needed to make the break into writing her own songs. And she just never did it until this Rose Method training.
Beautiful.
And, oh my gosh, it was so amazing. She sang us this song she had written the night before, and we were all just blown away. So that was a huge breakthrough for her.
That's a huge breakthrough,
Yeah.
and that can be really scary.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, this is coming from within me, like all of that ego talk can come
Yeah.
up. What if they don't like it? What if I'm rejected? And it comes
Yeah.
down to, in psychology, they won't love me,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
They'll reject me, and we
Yeah.
all want to be loved. And
Yeah.
people conform to the craziest things just to be accepted and be loved.
Yeah, that's true.
And to put yourself out there and like, okay, I wrote this song and I'm singing it to you. And she did it.
She did it.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's powerful.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the practices, the centering, the alignment, but also we did a lot of work with putting the ego aside, the agendas aside. So that idea that we want people to love us, we put that aside. And we just have another exquisite experience of coming from our truth, which is an enormous self-love
Yes.
and spiritual love. And that just takes us to new places,
Beautiful.
new brave places.
Brave places.
It does
yes.
take courage. What I'm doing takes courage too.
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
it's so worth it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, breakthroughs and get rid of
Yeah.
the clutter and stop sabotaging
Yeah.
and holding yourself back. That's a real true sense of freedom when you stop holding yourself back.
Oh my gosh, definitely. It's a new life when you do that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then you're more prepared also for if and when another block appears, which chances are it will, because
It will.
we're human and life brings us different things. But now you have tools to work with it, to bring it into awareness, to go to your spiritual help.
Yes.
And it's just what a way to live. Such a better way to live.
Freedom.
Yeah,
Gosh.
yeah.
So, what else would you like to share with our viewers?
Well, I guess I would say I believe everyone is extraordinary and everyone has extraordinary offerings to the world or to even just an individual or even to yourself. And the Rose Method is really about giving everyone more possibility of really living in that extraordinary way. And again, I believe that blesses us and the world and nature and everything.
I agree. And I feel like, if you're really centered and you're really coming from your place of truth, which you mentioned earlier, wouldn't that be beneficial for, your job, your friendships, your relationships, whether it be with your spouse, your children?
Everything.
Because you show up more fully.
Yeah, and we also work with holding presence. So all the tools we do and practices we do in the Rose Method training can be applied everywhere.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're showing up. You're not wearing a mask.
Right. The
So-
mask is released, the ego investment is released, and you're aligned, and the miracles happen.
It sounds like
Because
it.
we surrender. We don't think we know what's supposed to happen next, so we surrender to the moment, being as true to ourselves as possible, and anything's possible then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And being more in the flow.
Yeah.
And again, back to less energy
Yes.
and a more exquisite life.
Yeah.
And the things that do happen are even bigger and better
Yeah.
than what you would have kind of conjured up in your mind to begin with.
Right. Right. And that brought up something to say too, is that when we've got this unconscious block and wounds operating, we tend to attract things that reinforce that wound and
Absolutely.
those blocks. So as we clear that out, we start attracting all sorts of other wonderful things
Yes.
that reinforce our light versus our wounds.
Oh, that's powerful. That's very powerful. And again, that applies to every single aspect of life.
Yes.
Relationships, employees, bosses, clients, people you meet at the supermarket, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah. And it can have a wonderful impact on our health, our well-being, our peace of mind.
Our clarity.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
so powerful. I can't wait. Can we start today?
I know, I'm excited too.
Oh, gosh. Well, we'll wrap up here. Is there anything else you'd like to say? We'll wrap up.
I just really invite people to come and really participate with courage. It will be truly transformative.
Yeah, just what I have already seen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely encourage people to go to satnamspiritcenter.com, look at the Rose Method, and join us, because I'm going to be there too. I can't wait.